Welcome aboard the virtual ship with Fellowship Chicago. While we can't have church traditionally, we can still be the church consistently. New method, same message. New platform, same power. New season, same God. Now, let's go into our worship experience.
Fellowship fam, so glad to have you back on board the virtual ship. Wherever you are, go ahead and drop some anchors in the chat. Let us know where you're tuning in from tonight for our 72nd church anniversary Refuel Throwback experience. You're in for a treat tonight. You're in for a treat. One of my favorite sermons from our senior pastor. This was back when he was the associate pastor, August 18th, 2019. He preached a sermon entitled, "So What If I'm a Grasshopper?" It's coming from Numbers 13. It's a great sermon. It talks about if you feel inadequate, if you feel like you're less than what you should be, so what? You have God on your side. I'm excited to get into the sermon, but before we do that, I want to give you an opportunity to give. 7 ways to give are coming up right over my right shoulder. You see them on the screen. Feel free to give generous. Be generous tonight in your giving. We know that we can always give without worshiping, but we cannot worship without giving. And we thank you, family. Thank you for sowing into the kingdom that allows us to continue to come into your homes each and every week via the virtual ship. I'm going to get out the way so you can get into this powerful word from our senior pastor. So what if I'm a grasshopper? I'll see you soon. Peace.
Numbers 13, verses 1 through 3, then verse 30 through 33. I'm going to read it quickly, but there's a strange word that God has given me, and if you just ride the boat with me, ride the ship today, and the Spirit is going to bring us safely to the other side of what God wants us to know. Numbers chapter 13, verses 1 through 3, and then verses 30 through 33 out of the Message Bible. Get your iPhone, your Android, your tablet, your iPad, whatever you have. If it says Bible, it's good. Numbers chapter 13, verse 1 through 3 reads like this. God spoke to Moses and said, "Send men to scout out the country of Canaan that I am giving to the people of Israel. Send one man from each ancestral tribe, each one a tried and true leader in the tribe." So Moses sent them off from the wilderness of Paran at the command of God. Come down to verse 30. Verse 30. When they got back, Caleb interrupted all of the ones talking, called for silence before Moses and said, "Hey, let's go up and take the land now. We can do it." You know, some folk like that, they always positive. They think you can do it. But then something happened, verse 31. But the others said, "We can't attack those people. They're way stronger than we are." And then they began to spread scary rumors among the people of Israel. They said stuff like this: "We scouted out the land from one end to the other. It's a land that swallows people whole. Everybody we saw was huge. Why, we even saw the Nephilim, or the giants, the people of Anak, giants from the Nephilim tribe. And alongside them," you see that? "Alongside them, we felt like" what? "Grasshoppers. And they looked down on us as if we were grasshoppers." Alongside them, we felt like grasshoppers. And we know when they looked on us, they thought we looked like grasshoppers. I want to talk today from this thought very simply. So what if I am a grasshopper? So what if I am a grasshopper? I want you to get an attitude and look at the person beside you, and I want you to talk to them like you got a real legit attitude and say, "So what if I am a grasshopper?" No, that's the wrong person. Tell somebody else with a gospel attitude. "So what if I am a grasshopper?" Consider now this story, and I pray that by the end of this story, you get a helpful life principle that will bring insight for your spiritual journey. 2 frogs fell into a deep cream bowl. One of them had an optimistic soul. The other one took a more gloomy view. He cried, "We will drown. There is nothing else we can do." So with a last despairing cry, he flung up his legs and said goodbye. But the other frog kept a merry grin. He said, "Well, I can't get out, but I won't give in." I'll just swim around till my strength is spent. Then I will die a little more content. Bravely he swam till it did seem his struggling began to churn the cream. On top of the butter at last he stepped, and out of the bowl at last he leapt. So what is the point? Well, it's easily found. If you can't get out, just keep swimming around. I want to ask you this morning, which frog are you? Because all of us will have some circumstances where it looks like the odds are against us. The odds are stacked against us. The facts are not in our favor. But when you are in a situation that your strength, your expertise, your skillfulness cannot get you out of, you have two choices. You can be like the one frog that said, well, I can't get out, I'll just choose to die. Or you can have the swag of the other frog who says, well, I can't get out, but I'm not going to give in, and end up moving around and shifting your atmosphere until the very place that was designed to drown you now becomes the place that God is going to use to help lift you. Oh, I'm preaching already. So you got a choice in life when the odds are against you, when the facts are not in your favor. Either you can throw your hands up and give up and think that there's nothing in you, there's nothing about you that can help you face your fight or face your reality. Or you could be like my friend, the other frog, that said, well, I'll just keep swimming around. And then the very thing that was designed to harm you will become the very thing that God lifts you out of that situation to become more than you've ever become in your life. The very thing designed to destroy you can actually be the very thing that God uses to take you to where you're supposed to be. The very thing that the enemy wants to use to destroy you can eventually become the very thing God uses to help catapult you to a whole nother dimension and level and sphere in your life. But it's all up to you. It's all up to your perspective what you're going to do. I know that money gets funny. I know that people are fake sometimes. I know that life can be exhausting. I know that news can be depressing. I know that when God has called you to relaunch, that sometimes things don't always work in your favor, but you have two choices. You can give up or you can keep swimming around. You can keep on believing. You can keep on praying. You can keep on giving. You can keep your positivity at a whole nother level, because that's what happens in the text today. Just like these two frogs, it's two groups of people in this text today. It's so interesting because God says in verse 1 of Numbers 13, Moses, go send some spies, 12 spies from each tribe of Israel to go spy out the land. Don't miss this, that I'm giving you. I knew y'all were asleep, so I had to stop right there. God said, go spy out the land, not go get the land, not go fight for the land. Just go look at what I'm trying to give you. And after they go view the land, after they go survey the landscape, after they go peruse the area of Canaan and the promised land, two people come back, Caleb and Joshua, and they say something like this. Hey, y'all, we got this. We can do this. This ain't no thing but a chicken wing. We got this. We're able to defeat those giants. Yeah, they are bigger than us, but let's get ourselves together. King James Version puts it like this: we are able to go against whatever it is in the promised land. But then 10 came back with a report, and it sounded like this. I don't know, y'all. Them pomegranates were sweet. Those grapes were tasty. It was flowing with milk and honey, but we look like grasshoppers because the Nephilim people are there. The Nephilim people were giants. These were the people that produced the likes of Goliath. These were giants living in the land. They came back and said, no, y'all can go if you want to. We ain't going. 10 said, we're not going because we're too small. We're not going because we don't have what it takes. We're not going because we look like grasshoppers. We're not going because it's too much for us. 2 said, let's go. Can I give you something to carry with you for the rest of this week? Stop waiting on folk to co-sign what God has already designed. Sometimes the majority is not going to see what you see, feel what you feel, or go where you got to go. And you got to be willing to take the two people who do see what you see, feel what you feel, and ready to go where you go. I'm preaching already. Y'all can just go to sleep. See, in this season of your life, your circle is about to get smaller because your purpose is about to get greater. You can't hang with everybody. You can't be with everybody. You can't agree and be in conversation with everybody. I need a Joshua and a Caleb, and you can keep the rest of the 10. And then I got frustrated when I read this text, Thomas, because I'm like, well, what if we are really grasshoppers? What if we don't have what it takes? What if the facts are for real? What if really what you're about to go against in your life is much bigger than you? And you don't have the expertise, and you don't have the degree, and you don't have everything you need, and you don't have the skill set that's necessary for the position, and you don't have all of the wisdom that you may need. But I came to preach to somebody and tell you, I don't care what the enemy is trying to make you see in the mirror. You better learn greater is he that is within me than he that's in the world. I came to wake somebody up and say, stop sleeping on yourself. You want everybody else not to sleep on you. Why you sleeping on yourself? You better tell somebody, I may be young, but I'm ready. You better tell somebody, I may be small, but you better not try me. I may be silent and quiet and shy, but don't you think I can't see what you just did across the room? I came to talk to some grasshoppers who can say the odds are against me, the facts are against me, my money ain't on my side, friends aren't on my side, but do I have about 20 and I'll make 21 who can say, although I ain't big, you better watch yourself coming up on me. Any grasshoppers up in this room who can testify, I ain't the biggest, I ain't the smartest, I'm not the greatest, I'm not the richest, but I can float like a butterfly and I'll sting you like a bee. You better think twice before you cross me. Where are the grasshoppers in the room who know that although it's bigger than you, it ain't bigger than God? Where are the grasshoppers in the room who understand that God, if God be for you, he's more than the world against you? Everybody else stay seated, stay quiet. I'm preaching to grasshoppers who are going to wake up the world and shake up the world. You may not be perfect, but you're good enough for God. Stop letting people define you because of your age and because of your gender and because of your sexuality and because of your economic status and because you didn't go to nobody's school. That's the stuff people try to use against you to bring you down. God says, I'll use everything that's supposed to work against you to work for you, because now unto him who's able to do I feel like preaching. Go on and shake a hand with a grasshopper. Say, what's up, grasshopper? You don't even know who you sitting by right now. You're sitting by somebody that God is about to use for something spectacular. And let me warn some of you judgmental people around here who like to look at folks because of what they're wearing or how they're talking or what they're driving. You better be careful judging people because of how they look on the outside. Don't judge a book by its cover. The person you're overlooking is the one God's about to overbook. Tell somebody, I'm a grasshopper. You call me whatever you want to, but you better think twice. Grasshoppers got some stuff working for them that the giants don't have. So what if I'm a grasshopper? Can I just tell you a couple things? We going home together, and I'm going to get you out in decent time. Number one. Here's what grasshoppers got going for them. They've had victory with God behind them. They've had victory with God behind them. The people calling themselves grasshoppers are the children of Israel. Y'all got that part? Now, children of Israel are in the wilderness now, but they're in the wilderness because God has brought them there on their way to a promised land. I know we say that so much, but we miss it. It's a promised land, but there's a process to get to the promise. And so they're in the middle of the process on their way to a definite promise, but they've just come out of the Red Sea. They've just come out of slavery in Egypt. God has just handled Pharaoh and his army. God has just fed them with manna from heaven. God's so off the chain that he'll feed you and supply your needs with stuff you don't even know what it is. And I believe that's why they call it manna, because every time they saw it fall, they said, man, huh? God kept them fed. God kept them nourished. When they got thirsty, water came out of a rock. When they got hungry, man, came from heaven. God defended them against their enemies. And then they get to some giants and they say, they too big for us. We's look like grasshoppers. How sway? This ain't your first time up against something big. Slavery was big. Pharaoh was big. Pharaoh's army was big. The Red Sea was big. The wilderness that you survived was big. And the same God that helped you with the last big stuff, he's able to help you with the next big stuff. And that's the problem. Because somebody will look at this and say, oh, they're wrestling with insecurity. No, this ain't just an issue of insecurity. It's an issue of forgetfulness. Because the worst believer is the one that's forgetful. And I can look right there all over the room and I can see all this service, all this energy, all this spirit in the room. And some of y'all just sitting there looking. Why take all that? What they doing? Can she please sit down? I mean, he run every Sunday. I'm so tired of him running. I mean, does it really, do they have to get that loud? Did the choir have to sing that long? Does it really take all of that? I mean, I'm a more reserved member. I don't need all that emotionalism. It's not emotionalism. It's somebody in the room has a good memory. And the more you remember that God has done for you, something happens in your spirituality that makes you can't help but praise God. Who brought you through school when you should have failed? Who kept you in the accident when you should have died? Who rocked you to sleep when you had mess going on? And if he did it before, same God right now. Look at somebody and say, I remember. This ain't my first rodeo. I ain't new to this. I'm true to this. And God took care of me back then. He can take care of me right now. What's wrong with you preaching nothing? I'm just remembering how God has made ways before, how God has paid bills before, how God has handled my enemies before. He's the same God. Look at somebody and tell them, you better remember, you better remember. It's not that you're insecure, you're just forgetful. You losing sleep over somebody trifling at your job. You've had a trifling coworker before. You about to lead the ministry because somebody messy in church. That ain't your first time running up against somebody messy. And if you be real, you've been messy too. Same God. What you looking for, preacher? I'm just looking back. The mountains he brought me over. The hills he helped me climb. The rivers he gave me strength to swim through. The devil thought I was out for the count and I bounced back. But tell somebody, I got a good memory. I don't care who's ahead of me or what's ahead of me. The same God. Y'all listening to me today? They had victory behind them. But they just don't have victory with God behind them. They've got a variety of gifts inside them. I'm talking to some grasshoppers. We felt like grasshopper. They bigger than us. They stronger than us. We can't do it. We little. Not no T's nowhere in the word. We little. Us too small. Us not smart. Us too little. Us too tiny. Us too minuscule. Us too diminutive. We grasshoppers. Come here, grasshopper. Do you not know you have a variety of gifts inside of you? Can I tell you something about grasshoppers? Grasshoppers are normally range from the size of about 5 centimeters long to 12.5 centimeters long. So if you get a regular average ruler, a grasshopper is about a little under half of it and a little longer than 12 centimeters. So he's just a little bug about this big, or it can grow about this big. Grasshopper, little bug. It don't weigh much. It's a little bug. But they have some physiological functionality. They have some anatomical agility. They've got some biological ingenuity. God built them in a way that helps them survive when predators show up. You better not mess with a grasshopper, because they got some power in their hind legs that works like a spring. So when somebody runs up to eat them, they don't run, they don't walk, y'all so sleep. They're so agile, they have so much dexterity that grasshoppers are believed to be able to jump about 16 feet or 23 feet in the air. And relative to their size, if we could jump like grasshoppers, we would be able to jump over an entire football field. Y'all not listening? Then on top of their ability to jump, they can fly. They have wings. So they just don't jump up in the air. When they get up there, they got something in them that can help them stay up there. So some folk, some predators, some animals can't even touch them because they can't fly as high as them. Oh, y'all sleep. Then I've been studying, Deacon Pugh, that grasshoppers have this anatomical ability to spit out brown substance, brown liquid. Whenever a predator or a human grabs them, if you're not careful, that grasshopper will spit something brown, a brown liquidy substance out of his mouth. And the texture of the substance or the scent of the substance makes them free. People put them down because they got something coming out of their mouth that keeps the predators away. They can jump. That speaks to acceleration. They can fly. That speaks to elevation. They can spew something out of their mouth. That speaks to pronunciation. Come here, grasshopper. I don't care who you don't think you are. God has given you the ability to jump over stuff everybody else gets stuck in. And then after you jump over it and get ahead of everybody else. See, I don't know who I'm talking to, but God is about to accelerate some of y'all. Stuff that took people 10 years to do, God's going to do it for you in 10 months. Everybody else had to wait 20 years to be promoted. God says, I can do it in 3 years. God is about to cause you to jump into some stuff that you should not have normally been able to jump in, but because he's given you a variety of gifts, you're about to get ahead of the crowd, and folks don't know what to do with you because every time they think they got you in their grip, you jump again. What my grasshoppers in this room who can testify the enemy should have thought twice before he messed with me, because I'm getting ready to jump into some favor, jump into some blessings, leap into some new seasons, jump into a new level. And while y'all down there talking about mess, I'm going higher. And then they got wings to help them go higher. They got wings because they that wait upon the Lord, he'll renew your strength. You'll mount up on wings like an eagle. You'll run and not get weary. All that symbolizes is you can fly at a whole nother altitude. God is taking you high. Who am I talking to in this room who can thank your God? He's lifting you in this season. He's taking you higher in this season. And he's not lifting you higher to be seen. He's lifting you higher so you can see. He didn't lift you and give you that position so you could be a know-it-all and show off. He's given you a higher perspective so you can get a better view of what's really bothering you. Because from the ground, Sears Tower or Willis Tower looks humongous to me. But every time I fly into the city, that tower that looks so tall from the ground looks like a toy Lego from the sky. God says, I had to lift you higher so you can get a better perspective. You think your enemy is big. Let me let you fly high so you can see just how small they are. You think that bill is big. Let me let you go higher so you can see how small it is. And then somebody else in there saying, listen, I got you on the jumping, I got you on the flying. But what about this brown, sticky substance that flies out of your mouth? Well, listen, none of us, I hope, can spit out brown liquid substance every time a predator comes near. But you do have some substance that you can spit when the enemy comes in like a flood. You better spit your substance. The Lord is my shepherd, and I shall not want. You better spit your substance. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the shadow of the Almighty shall be kept safe. You better spit your substance. Weeping may endure for, I'm going to preach by myself. Keep sitting there. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. You better spit your substance. I can do all things through. Anybody ever been in a tight place and nothing but the word would help you get out of it? Better learn how to spit your substance. And I don't care what's going on at your job. They passing out pink slips. You tell them, y'all keep on passing them out. But my God shall supply all of my needs according to his riches and glory. Go spit your substance. The world is shaking. The president is shaking. Congress is shaking. Everything around you is shaking. But you better watch what comes out of your mouth now unto him who's able to keep you from falling and present you faultless. Somebody give God praise for his word. Do you know who you are? I said, do you know who you are? You talking about, I'm a grasshopper, I'm small. No, you just the right size. Because God made you with intentionality. God took God's time making you. God put something in you that nobody else has. You talking about, well, my hair is nappy. No, my pastor, E. Dewey Smith, said it ain't nappy, it's obedient. You put it in one place and it stays. You talking about, well, I'm big. No, you're not. You just slim thick with it. You better learn how to enjoy what God has given you. He gave you a mouth for communication. He gave you sweat for perspiration. He gave you a back for formation. He gave you hair for decoration. He gave you lungs for respiration. He gave you legs for stabilization. He gave you eyes for observation. He gave you ears for interpretation. He gave you a nose for inhalation. He gave you hands for your occupation. He gave you a heart for blood circulation. He gave you feet for transportation. He gave you skin for insulation. He gave you a tongue for taste sensation. He gave you a mind for education. Gave you prayer for direction and communication. He gave you a church for motivation. He gave you a pastor for confirmation. He gave you his word for inspiration. He gave you the Holy Ghost for sanctification. He gave you Jesus for salvation. And one day he's going to give you heaven for compensation. Somebody in this house ought to give God praise. You got something on the inside of you. Go on and high five somebody and say, hey, grasshopper. Tell somebody, hey, grasshopper, use what you got. Work what you got. Stand on the word of God. You ought to high five somebody around you. Say, don't you sleep on me. Tell somebody, don't you sleep on me. I'm going to shock you in a few days. I'm going to shock you in a few years. You can step on me today, but I'm going to jump over you tomorrow. Wait. Listen. I have had victory with God behind me. I got a variety of gifts inside of me. But then last and finally, I have to vigorously work to gather my squad around me. Wait. I got to vigorously work to gather my squad around. See, if you're from the street, you know what I just said. It's power and being with the right squad. I'm about to help somebody. Grasshopper is light. It's about 5, 6, 7, 8 centimeters long. By themselves, they can't do much. But let them suckers get together. Right now in Las Vegas, there are miles of strips, stores, restaurants that nobody can go into because a plague of grasshoppers have popped out of nowhere because of the wet, moist season of spring. And now all of those grasshoppers are shutting down money and keeping people away because they all together. The species of a grasshopper is really what we call locusts. They eat up farmers' crops, and a farmer's worst nightmare is a swarm of grasshoppers because they can destroy all of the crops, shut down the economy. If all of them get together, can't nobody touch them. Ooh, I feel Pastor Jenkins. Ooh, y'all sleep. The reason why the enemy is destroying some of us is because we have not yet learned the power of unity. Oh, you let us get together. That's why Dr. King died. He didn't die because he had a dream yet. He died because he woke up. And the night before Dr. King died, go to YouTube if you don't believe me, in that famous speech about the mountaintop, before he got to that prophetic moment that he's looked over and seen the promised land, Dr. King was trying to tell them, y'all, if you really want to hurt this economy and get folk to listen to you, shut down supporting some of these big corporations. Oh, I'm about to mess up now. If y'all could just get together and boycott and stop supporting some of these big companies, you all can get the attention, because America don't care about white and black. America cares about one color, and it's green. The next day he dies because he was trying to tell us there's power in unity. And here we are on the precipice of a brand new season. Here we are on the cusp of God about to take this church to a whole nother level. Can I tell you the enemy's number one tactic? Can I tell you what the devil's trying to do more than anything? Divide us. Because if he can keep us divided, and you can get the Bloods against the Reds and old fellowship against new fellowship, then everybody gonna stay scattered and scared. Ain't no old fellowship, ain't no new fellowship. It's one fellowship. Preach, Reggie. And when we all get on one accord, the enemy won't even be able to do anything up in this house. I'm coming back next year. I'm coming back after. I'm coming. I don't care when you come back. If you ain't got the right spirit, stay where you at. We gonna be on one accord up in here. High five somebody, say one accord. We're not up in here to be seen. We're not up in to get what we like. We're up in here to get folks saved. We're up in here to save alcoholics and drug dealers and thugs and gangsters and young men. And we got to be on one accord. The church can't talk about the streets because some of us worse than them. One accord. And when all of the grasshoppers get together, watch how many folks get saved. Watch how many mountains we cross. Watch how many rivers we go over. Anybody on one accord? Some of y'all looking like you don't know nothing I'm only talking about the grasshoppers that are about that life. If you ain't about that life, be quiet. Where are the grasshoppers? Anybody ever watch Drumline? One band, one sound. Show me a house that's out of order, I'll show you a house that has no unity. Show me a marriage that's in trouble, I'll show you a couple that have no unity. Show me a church full of mess, I'll show you a church that has no unity. Because when everybody is flowing, with the Spirit of God. We may not like each other. We may not agree with each other, but you better not let nobody else talk about them. You better not let, see, if you real saved, super duper spiritual, this ain't for you. I'm talking to the folk that got some hood instincts. Now, you can believe and talk about whoever you want to talk about, but you better not come for mine. Look at the person beside you and say, I got you, I got you. Yeah, you're going to mess up. Yeah, you're going to fall short. Yeah, you're going to make mistakes. But I got you because we in this together. Don't let nobody talk about Reverend Evans. Don't let nobody talk about Pastor Jenkins. And when they come to me, you can do whatever you want to do, but they ain't going to talk about me because I can hold my own. I'm just kidding. I need us to have each other's backs. Can the church say amen?
Listen, I tried to tell you, it was a good one. I tried to tell you. Didn't you see Pastor jumping all across the state? I tried to tell you, it was a good one. I'm so excited, family, that even though we're grasshoppers, even though other people may see us as grasshoppers, if we got God on our side, we can take down any giant. We can go conquer the land that God has promised for us. I want to offer Christ to you today. I want to give you somebody who will help you in those times when you feel like you're minuscule, those times when you feel like you're less than. Jesus is someone who will walk by your side. And I promise you, you plus Jesus can defeat anything. Information is on the screen where you can email us or text us if you want to make Jesus your choice, or you may want to join the fellowship family. We would love to have you on board the ship. Listen, family, I want to let you know that you can still give even now. Family, 7 ways to give are coming up on the screen, and we encourage you. If this message has been a blessing to you, please, ma'am, please, sir, be generous in your giving. I told you before, you can always give without worshiping, but you cannot worship without giving. So go ahead, be a blessing to us as we hope we've been a blessing to you. Family, we're excited because we have new Fellowship Chicago merch. I'm wearing what we call the Definition hoodie, and we want you to go right now to the website and you can purchase new Fellowship merch with our new logo. Our pastor explained a few weeks ago. New logo. Our new logo is on all the merch, and we encourage you to go out, get you some ship merch. So when you go out in the streets of Chicago or wherever you are on the virtual ship, you can let everybody know, hey, I'm repping Fellowship Chicago, 45th place in Princeton, the place where it is no secret what God can do. Listen, we love you, family. Thank you for tuning in tonight. I want to offer the benediction to you. May your struggles keep you near the cross. May your troubles show that you need God. May your battles end the way they should. And may your bad days prove that God is good. I pray that your entire life continues to prove that God really, really, really is good. Continue to have a great week. If it's not a great week, make it a great week. Love you. Peace, peace.
Attention all men, we are hosting the Men Dean Conference October 7th through October 9th here at the Ship. Listen, this conference is for ages 12 and up, and we want to see everybody in attendance. This conference goal is to make sure that us as men can come together in a safe space to talk about how life has ripped us, torn us, and broken us apart. And we want to make this a space where we can come together and mend those broken pieces. So again, October 7th through the 9th, we want to see all men in attendance. Head over to fellowshipchicago.com for more information and to register today.
Thank you for worshiping with Fellowship Chicago on the virtual ship. We've always had a commitment of service, and during this season, we've increased our efforts to serve you better. We have made it easy for you to stay connected to get the complete resources you need. You can email us at info@fellowshipchicago.com. Call the church office Tuesday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at 773-924-3232. And our social media on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. For real-time updates, you can text Fellowship Chicago to 55949. We have exciting and informative resources throughout the entire week designed specifically with you in mind. Go to fellowshipchicago.com for the full schedule. Until we dock again, thank you for your prayers and financial support of Fellowship Chicago. Remember, we are in this together.
Shut your spirit, kept his word. That's all you heard. Now unto him who's able to do it